Very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. Our top story tonight is on the aftermath of that deadly attack that unfolded at one of Australia's most famous beaches. Authorities saying the attack was deliberately designed to terrorize Australia's Jewish community. We are telling you more about what the investigations have revealed and the many questions that stay unanswered. Also on the show for you tonight, the latest on the Russia-Ukraine war, with the latest attack triggering concern and a series of questions. Where do things stand on the battlefield? Also getting you the story of the tank that China is preparing for high-altitude operations. All this and more coming up. Australia reading from the aftermath of that deadly attack. A father and son driven by what the authorities describe as Islamic State-inspired ideology. When they opened fire on crowds at one of Australia's most famous beaches, the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, confirmed the assessment, calling the attack an act of extremism rooted in an ideology of hate. On Sunday, Sajid Akram and his son Naveed opened fire on people gathered at that beach during celebrations for the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. 15 people were killed, 42 more were injured. Authorities saying the attack was deliberately designed to terrorize Australia's Jewish community. Though the investigations have so far released limited details about the gunmen's deeper motivations.
Oh my God.
Today in India, Telangana police saying one of the two gunmen behind that mass shooting, Sajid Akram, was an Indian citizen who had left the country 27 years ago. In fact, the Telangana police saying that he did not travel to India even at the time of his father's demise. Akram's family members have expressed no knowledge of his radical mindset or activities, nor of the circumstances that led to his radicalization. The Australian Prime Minister gave one of the first hints that the pair had been radicalized by an ideology of hate. He said in an interview, I'm quoting now, "With the rise of ISIS, more than a decade ago now, the world has been grappling with extremism and this hateful ideology," quote unquote. Investigators are now focusing on the duo's recent travel. They traveled to the Philippines before the shootings, and authorities are investigating whether they met Islamist extremists during the trip. And reports also saying that Sajid and Naveed Akram recently traveled to an island in the Philippines known for Islamist insurgency. Naveed on an Australian passport and Sajid on an Indian passport. Manila's immigration department saying the pair spent almost all of November in the Philippines, with their final destination listed as Davao, the province located on the southern island of Mindanao. Has a long history of Islamist insurgency against central government rule. And the immigration records listed Sajid as an Indian national, his son as an Australian citizen. Back in Australia, the investigators have found a car registered to Naveed Akram to Naveed Akram, parked near the beach in the aftermath of the shooting, in which they basically found improvised bombs and 2 homemade ISIS flags. Authorities are also facing mounting questions over whether they could have acted earlier to foil that attack. The Prime Minister has said Naveed Akram, reportedly an unemployed bricklayer, had come to the attention of the Australian intelligence agency in the year 2019, but was not considered an imminent threat at the time. And police also still piecing together the duo's movements before the shooting. As per reports, on the day of the attack, Naveed told his mother that he was heading out of the city on a fishing trip. Instead, authorities believe that he was holed up in a rental apartment with his father, plotting that attack, carrying long-barreled guns. They peppered the beach and a nearby park with bullets for 10 minutes before the police shot and killed 50-year-old Sajid. 24-year-old Naveed remains in coma in the hospital under police guard. A 10-year-old girl, 2 Holocaust survivors were among those killed. 42 others were rushed to the hospital with gunshot wounds and other injuries. And on Monday, Australia's leaders agreed to toughen laws that allowed Sajid to own 6 guns. Mass shootings have been rare in Australia. The last time a case of mass shooting took place was in the tourist town of Port Arthur in 1996. And that massacre sparked a world-leading crackdown that included a gun buyback scheme and limits on semi-automatic weapons as well. However, now many Australians are questioning whether those laws are even equipped to actually deal with the online sales and a steady rise in privately owned guns. And the attack has also revived allegations that Australia is dragging its feet in that fight against anti-Semitism. The country recorded a rise in anti-Semitic attacks as well as Islamophobic incidents, particularly in the aftermath of the Gaza war. The Israeli Prime Minister, meanwhile, has said Australia's decision to recognize Palestinian statehood this year had poured oil on the fire of anti-Semitism. Those were the words used. And amid this, Australia has mobilized citizens, have lined up in numbers of thousands to donate blood to the injured. Red Cross Australia saying more than 7,000 people donated blood on Monday, shattering the previous national record. A growing flower memorial also lining that beach now as mourners gather to honor the victims. Hundreds, including members of the Jewish community, stood together in silence. Let's now shift our focus to the Russia-Ukraine war. Fresh military claims, battlefield pressure, diplomatic maneuvering, all happening at the same time. Ukraine's security service has said that it carried out a special operation against Russia's navy. The agency released video footage that it claims shows an underwater drone striking a Russian Kilo-class submarine at the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk. And according to the SBU, the strike left the submarine critically damaged and out of action. Russia has rejected the claim, insisting that no damage was inflicted on its fleet and denying that any such strike even took place. Meanwhile, in Ukraine's Zaporizhia region, Kiev saying a Russian drone strike hit a 9-story residential building, injuring at least 3 people. Visuals on your screen now showing the firefighters battling those flames and helping residents evacuate from the building. On the battlefield, meanwhile, Russia also claiming full control of Kupiansk in Ukraine's northeast. Very crucial. Its critical rail hub status has served as a logistics lifeline, in fact, for Ukraine's frontline defenses. And the Ukrainian authorities dispute Russia's claims, saying that the fighting continues in and around that area. The president of Ukraine addressed the Dutch parliament He challenged Moscow's narrative on Kupiansk. Here's what he said.
Our city of Kupiansk, and it's a city in the eastern Ukraine, and the front line is now very really close to it, and Putin publicly lied, claiming that Russian forces had already taken the city. So I went to Kupiansk myself to show the world Putin is lying.
And on the diplomatic front, the Kremlin saying a Christmas truce proposed by Ukraine would hinge on progress towards a broader peace agreement. And Zelensky has said on Monday that Kiev supports a ceasefire, particularly a pause in strikes on energy infrastructure during the Christmas period. The Kremlin, though, has dismissed the proposal, saying Russia is unlikely to participate if Ukraine continues to pursue what it described as short-term and unviable solutions instead of a lasting settlement. So that's where things stand on that front. Now, in Washington, meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump expressed optimism about ending that war. He spoke about the war at a White House event after calling into a dinner in Berlin, where the U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were holding discussions with Zelensky and the European leaders regarding the war. This is what Trump said.
And I think we're closer now, and they will tell you that they're closer now. We had numerous conversations with President Putin of Russia, and I think we're closer now than we have been ever.
And when it comes to backing Ukraine, differences are becoming more visible among the Western partners. New polling by American digital newspaper showing that the findings also speaking of that high-stakes European Union summit in Brussels on Thursday, where financial support for Ukraine is expected to dominate the discussions. On to China now. It has unveiled a new edge to its armored spearhead, one of Beijing's most advanced main battle tanks. The Type 99B, it has emerged from the shadows, the upgraded war machine built for speed, firepower, and the harsh realities of extreme terrain. Chinese state media saying the latest variant is designed to operate in high-altitude plateaus and bitter cold conditions. Tested across diverse terrain reportedly, pushed through live-fire drills, wired into advanced information-based command systems, it is a new level of edge, in a way, in China's terrain combat capabilities. And while official reports stop short of confirmation, the message from China seems to be clear. It is suggested that these tanks could be deployed to high-altitude regions, including the Tibetan Plateau and areas along the undemarcated Himalayan border with India. In fact, it's not declared, not confirmed. It's a could be at this point. But in a region marked by history, suspicion, also flashpoints, even a suggestion carries a lot of weight. And in that case, India is not watching in silence, of course. On the other side of the mountains, the Indian Army ramping up combat preparedness near one of the country's most strategically sensitive zones, the Siliguri corridor, also known as the Chicken's Neck, the narrow 22-kilometer land bridge that connects India to the northeast. In the month of January, remember, India launched Devil Strike. We told you about this, a joint operation by the Army and the Air Force near the Siliguri corridor. At the Teesta Field firing range in West Bengal, India staged a full-scale statement of intent. And this was not a drill for display, this was war simulation in real time. Armored T-90 tanks thundered through the mock battlefields, multi-barrel rocket launchers roaring into action, anti-tank missiles struck with pinpoint accuracy, drones dominated the skies, feeding target data below. AI-powered robotic dogs moved through simulated combat zones. High-mobility, all-terrain vehicles navigated the snow, rock, river areas. Infantry artillery, armored units, elite paraspecial forces moved as one all synchronized in firepower, timing, also strategy. And this was not just defensive posturing, of course. This was preparation to seize the initiative if provoked. From the month-long live-fire tank exercises back then to recent anti-tank guided missile drills, India's Eastern Command has set a new benchmark for battlefield readiness. So as China modernizes, tests, and suggests, India is ready with deployment, deterrence, and determination. Switching gears now to the latest coming in from India, the national capital specifically continues to reel under the hazardous air conditions. It's a nightmare playing on loop day in and day out, a dense blanket of toxic smog engulfing Delhi, severely reducing visibility, causing discomfort to residents to say the least. Pollution levels remain dangerously high across large parts of the national capital, with the residents complaining of shortness of breath, sore throat, burning sensation in the eyes, so on and so forth. If you stay in the Delhi NCR region, you would have experienced some of these systems already. It's scary, and this has been happening for a while now. The toxic air in Delhi and the fog blanket leaving the people dealing with the many consequences they carry. Flights cancelled, trains delayed. This morning itself, a horrific road accident happened. This was on the Delhi-Agra Expressway. At least 13 people reportedly killed, several injured. And this happened because of the dense fog blanket, as a result of which visibility was severely impacted. Several vehicles were involved in that accident. Dealing with low visibility at times can be fatal, and such accidents are scary reminders of the need for things to change. Since in the times of low visibility, as you would know, it becomes extremely difficult for the vehicles to see those ahead. And in unfortunate cases like this one, fatal collisions happen, lives snatched away. In fact, overall, road accidents claiming many lives every year in India, these tragic occurrences are extremely unfortunate. Delhi's roads, in fact, were the most unsafe and deadly for commuters in 2023 among 53 cities across the country, for example, according to the National Crime Records Bureau data for 2023. And that's just a sample of what it's like to deal with these killer roads. The consequences, the fatal road traffic accidents are not a rare occurrence in India. In fact, quite the opposite, with India recording the highest absolute number of road accident deaths worldwide, and a number of factors at play. And as lives are snatched in such tragic ways, the nightmare continues to play out. A quick look now at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. The Indian rupee falling to fresh low, exports soar. We are joining the dots for you and telling you all that you need to know. This is coming up next. Aung San Suu Kyi's son fears she may be dead. We are telling you more about what he has said, getting you the complete story in just a bit. The rupee might be tumbling, but India refuses to stumble. With the American tariffs biting, Indian exports are still roaring louder than ever. And as the Indian currency hits rock bottom, India's global trade story is hitting new heights. We are decoding how New Delhi is turning this pressure into a power statement.
It's a paradox in motion in world's fifth largest economy. On Tuesday, the Indian rupee just plunged to a record 91.91 against the U.S. dollar, sparking alarm across financial markets. But while the currency wobbles, India's exports are surging, rewriting what resilience looks like in a turbulent global economy. In November, goods exports leapt 19% year-on-year, reaching $38.13 billion, with the U.S. leading the charge. Exports to America, despite hefty tariffs from the Trump administration, jumped a stunning 22.6%. The numbers are a resounding testament to the adaptability of Indian commerce. Trump's tariff play was designed to tilt the balance back to Made in America, but economists say it's backfiring. American buyers, hunting for affordability, are now deepening ties with Indian suppliers. A quiet, powerful shift that's redrawing trade flows. India's trade deficit narrowed sharply, aided by a reduction in imports, particularly gold. The overall picture is clear. The tariff strategy designed to apply maximum economic pressure has failed to break the Indian export machine. New Delhi and Washington are continually engaged in negotiations over tariffs. Talks on a bilateral trade agreement is also progressing actively. On the flip side, the rupee's slide, painful for importers, has turned into a silver lining for exporters. A weaker currency is boosting competitiveness, making Indian goods cheaper in overseas markets. From steel and chemicals to software and gems, exporters are capitalizing on the currency shift and tariff turmoil alike. New Delhi's long-term bet self-reliance with global ambition is starting to pay off. Policy pushes like Make in India and production-linked incentives are shielding the economy from external shocks. Even as the rupee sinks, the export engine hums with fresh strength. India's currency may have taken a hit, but its confidence hasn't. November's data sends a clear message. Even with tariffs overhead and the rupee under pressure, India's export engine is learning how to run faster, not slower.
Let's now shift our attention to Yemen, where a UAE-backed secessionist group has launched a new military move in the country's south. And this operation is part of an effort to expand territorial control, directly challenging the authority of Yemen's internationally recognized government. And despite the two sides being nominal allies against the Houthi movement, the group at the center of this escalation is Yemen's main separatist faction, the Southern Transitional Council, STC. And in recent weeks, the STC has expanded its presence across the key southern as well as eastern provinces. And this includes Hadramaut and Al-Amhara, areas that host oil facilities, ports, Yemen's border with Oman as well. And this has raised alarms that the relative calm in Yemen's long-stalled civil war could unravel, opening a whole new front in an already fragmented conflict. Saudi-led efforts to de-escalate the tensions in southern Yemen failed to gain any traction as such, with the STC refusing to withdraw the forces from the areas it has recently seized or been deployed into. And this is particularly significant because Yemen is mired, in fact has been mired for more than a decade in that civil war shaped by sectarian divides, local power struggles as well, and the competing regional interests. To the north, the Iran-aligned Houthi movement, controlling Yemen's most populous areas, including the capital of Sana'a. Meanwhile, a loose regional coalition led by Saudi Arabia and the UAE backing the internationally recognized government, even as the UAE-supported southern forces pursue their own separatist agenda. And now the STC's armed wing, known as the Southern Armed Forces, announcing a renewed operation in the province of Abyan. They are calling it Operation Eastern Arrows, an operation first launched to target Al-Qaeda-linked groups operating in parts of the province. And the group spokesperson posted images on social media showing armored vehicles and troops advancing towards Abyan. He did not provide further operational details as such. Here's the context and their geographical location. Abyan lies along the Gulf of Aden, a strategic waterway linking the Red Sea to the Arabian Sea. That's where it is. And the province serves as a critical land corridor connecting Yemen's southern cities to Al-Mahra on the border with Oman, making it vital for trade, security, also military logistics, very important. And the latest advance is expected to further complicate the Saudi-led mediation efforts aimed at preventing the open conflict between the STC and Yemen's recognized government. The STC leader, who also serves as vice president of Yemen's Presidential Leadership Council, has rejected calls for his forces to withdraw from the recently seized areas in Hadramaut and Al-Mahra. And this comes as the wider war between the Houthis and the Saudi-backed coalition remains largely stalemated. In recent years, though, the Houthis and Saudi Arabia reached an understanding in a way that halted cross-border attacks in exchange for a pause in the Saudi-led airstrikes on Houthi-held territory. But as the fighting quiets in the north, a new struggle is taking shape in the south, raising fears that Yemen could slide towards permanent division.
Together, we will win. Your leadership matters.
Concerns escalating over the fate and health of Myanmar's detained former leader Aung San Suu Kyi, as her family and the world at large remain largely in the dark. Her son has now said he has not heard directly from his 80-year-old mother in years. He fears he may never even know if she dies in custody. Ari's described an information vacuum since the military coup of 2021 that ousted Aung San Suu Kyi's elected government, remember, and plunged Myanmar into the crisis. Ari is saying that he has received only reports about his mother's worsening health, including heart, bone, gum issues, while rumors about her death or incapacitation have been doing the rounds for years.
She's 80 years old. She's got ongoing health issues. Nobody has seen her in over 2 years. She hasn't been allowed contact with her legal team, never mind her family. So that will be my main focus, is trying to get them to appeal for my mother's release, or if not her release, because that may be rather hard to achieve.
And this comes as Myanmar's military junta prepares to hold elections later this month, polls dismissed by many foreign governments as a sham designed to legitimize military rule. Ari is rejecting the vote, but also saying that it may offer a rare opening to the press for his mother's release, given the military's past practice of freeing prisoners around political events. A Nobel Peace Laureate, Aung San Suu Kyi, is serving a 27-year sentence on charges including incitement, corruption, election fraud, all of which she denies. She is believed to be held in the capital there, where Ari says she once complained of extreme heat and cold in her cell. And as the global attention shifts to other conflicts, he warns that Myanmar is being forgotten. He is now urging countries like Japan to increase the pressure on the junta and reject the elections. Meanwhile, the military saying Aung San Suu Kyi is in good health, a claim met with skepticism by her family and her supporters, who say independent verification is impossible. For now, the fate of Myanmar's most recognized democratic leader remains shrouded in silence, her son fearing that time may be running out. Switching gears for now, Meta is under intensifying scrutiny after a Reuters investigative report revealed how scam ads flooded its platforms reportedly, while the company continued to earn billions in ad revenue, allegedly. And at the center of the controversy is Meta's advertising business tied to China-based advertisers, reportedly, many of whom were linked to online investment scams, impersonation fraud, and fake financial schemes, reportedly, targeting users around the world. Investigations have found that scam ads repeatedly appeared on Facebook and Instagram, reportedly, despite internal warnings and years of public pledges by Meta to crack down on fraud. In fact, the question also is, why is this significant? Now, these scams did not target one country, remember. Victims were reported across the United States, Europe, Asia, Australia, often lured by ads using deep fake videos, fake celebrity endorsements, fabricated news headlines reportedly, all designed to look credible. Many users believed they were investing through legitimate platforms. Instead, millions of dollars were lost reportedly, often with little chance of recovery. And according to the Reuters report, Chinese advertisers became one of Meta's fastest growing sources of ad revenue, particularly after Beijing tightened the rules on domestic tech platforms. And even as fraudulent networks were taken down, new scam advertisers repeatedly resurfaced, reportedly exploiting the weaknesses in Meta's ad review systems reportedly. Now, Reuters also citing former employees as well as internal documents suggesting that Meta struggled to balance aggressive ad growth with enforcement, reportedly, especially in high revenue markets. Meta has said it removes scam ads, disables fraudulent accounts, and invests heavily in safety systems. And the company says scams are a wider industry problem and that criminals constantly evolve to evade detection. But critics are arguing that the scale of the abuse raises deeper questions about platform accountability, algorithmic amplification, and whether financial incentives slow decisive action. Regulators in multiple parts of the world, remember, are now paying closer attention already. Lawmakers around the world are asking whether existing digital safety laws are strong enough and whether tech companies should be held legally responsible when fraud spreads through paid advertising. And some are calling for tighter oversight of ad verification, clearer liability rules, and also faster compensation mechanisms for the victims. Just to put this simply, this is not just a story about one platform or about one country. It's about how global digital advertising ecosystems operate, the many questions, and how scams can actually scale up across borders, perhaps within minutes, and how difficult it is really for regulators to keep pace with the platforms in a way that are also operating at that huge scale. And as AI tools make scams cheaper, faster, more convincing in a way, the stakes are also rising. So is the concern. And the question now facing governments the world over is, how long will they continue to let this happen? From Gaza to Syria, a rare and sharp rift is emerging between the United States and Israel, according to a report by Axios. The White House has issued a stern and private warning to Netanyahu after Israel's latest activities in West Asia, reportedly. U.S. officials saying Israel's weekend strike in Gaza violated a ceasefire understanding brokered by Trump. The report quotes U.S. officials saying they were not informed of the attack in advance. And the report says the Secretary of State and top envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are increasingly frustrated with Netanyahu's approach. But when Trump was asked reportedly about this at the Oval Office, he denied the report, saying that he maintains good relations with Netanyahu. Listen in to what he said.
Are the reports that you rebuked the Israeli Prime Minister for the hit on the Hamas general true? And is Israel undermining your efforts to be a peacemaker?
No, Israel and I have gotten along very well. My relationship with Bibi Netanyahu has been obviously a very good one. Look, we took out Iran. We wiped out, with that plane right there, we wiped out the B-2 bomber. We wiped out the Iran nuclear threat, and because of that, we were able to make peace in the Middle East. No, we've had a very good relationship with Israel. We actually have a very good relationship with just about everybody in the Middle East.
And the friction extends beyond Gaza. Israel says its military deployment is temporary in Syria and is claimed and is, aimed at clearing militants and the remnants of the old Assad order. But there is no timeline as such for the withdrawal, and talks on a security agreement have stalled. Israel still holds territory in southern Lebanon. In Gaza, Israeli-controlled buffer zones remain even after the ceasefire, and many in southern Syria fear the same model, temporary deployment also becoming open-ended reality. From Gaza to Syria, the signal from Washington is growing clearer. The Trump administration wants de-escalation agreements honored and regional stability, but also, as per the Axis report, the gap between Trump and Netanyahu is widening. So maybe the consequences are also growing. India's military aviation arm is set for a decisive upgrade. Long-awaited American combat helicopters set to arrive to strengthen both the Army and the Navy. Within this month, the Indian Army expected to receive its final batch of the Apache AH-64 attack helicopters. While on Wednesday, the Indian Navy will commission a new squadron of the Seahawk helicopters, significantly boosting maritime strike and submarine hunting capabilities. The Indian Army expected to receive the final 3 AH-64E Apache attack helicopters, completing a 6-unit order signed with the United States in February 2020, remember. The first batch of the 3 helicopters delivered in July 2025. Once inducted, all 6 advanced helicopters will be based at the 451 Army Aviation Squadron in Jodhpur in Rajasthan. And due to its powerful weapon systems, the Apache is also often referred to as a flying tank. Armed with Hellfire missiles, air-to-air missiles, rockets, a 30mm chain gun, the Apache ranks amongst the world's most formidable attack helicopters, in fact, while advanced fire control radar, 360-degree situational awareness, night fighting sensors, precision targeting systems, giving it a decisive edge in modern combat. And at the same time, the Indian Navy is set to commission its 2nd squadron of the MH-60R Seahawk helicopters. According to the Indian Navy, the multi-role helicopters will be commissioned in the presence of the Navy Chief. The new unit, also known as the Ospreys, will add depth to India's maritime surveillance and also anti-submarine warfare posture. The Indian Navy is expected to receive a significant boost in its integral aviation capabilities with the commissioning of that squadron. Designed for submarine hunting, surface warfare, search and rescue, medical evacuation, logistics support, the Seahawk significantly expands the Navy's reach across the Indian Ocean. The Seahawk helicopters, equipped with advanced weapons, sensors, avionics, enabling them to address conventional and also asymmetric threats. And together, these helicopters marking a major step towards restoring combat readiness and modernizing India's helicopter fleet. Moving on for now, police in India's Agra arrested 32 people following a major cyber fraud crackdown after hundreds of complaints alleging losses of around 300 crore rupees. That's roughly 36 million US dollars. You heard that right. This case emerged from reports filed on the central government's National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal, basically. And the police said the accused are allegedly members of 3 separate gangs, using multiple methods to defraud the victims online. These include frauds linked to India's rural employment scheme, digital arrests, promises of quick loans through mobile applications. Authorities say the gangs targeted victims across multiple paths using spam links on WhatsApp, fake ads on Google, cryptocurrency transactions to move the money. Police in Agra saying 3 FIRs were registered at different police stations based on more than 600 complaints filed since June this year. 600. The maximum number of arrests, 24, were made by the Tajganj police. In fact, according to the additional Deputy Commissioner of Police for Cybercrime, each gang operated with a distinct way of functioning. One group allegedly cheated people by claiming payments were linked to that scheme. Another gang promised loans through a mobile app, asking the victims to download the software, share one-time passwords, and pay small processing fees. In one case, in fact, the complainant was promised a loan of 50,000 rupees but was asked to deposit 5,000 rupees first. The police saying the phone number used in that case was linked to multiple cyber crimes across Punjab, Delhi, Gujarat. Investigators saying one gang deposited proceeds of the crime into dummy bank accounts and paid monthly commissions to the account holders. The gang is allegedly headed by Ravi Rathore and Nitin Kumar, who are said to operate accounts linked to Dubai. Officials claim Nitin Kumar owns a bogus company in Dubai used to move and layer fraud proceeds. Police also suspect the involvement of some Jan Seva Kendra officials who may have provided Aadhaar details used to open fraudulent bank accounts. Several accounts were later frozen after withdrawals when the banks identified the funds as proceeds of cybercrime. 3 of the accused were arrested on December 13th near a hotel in Agra, leading to the subsequent arrest of 21 more. The cases have been registered under India's new criminal laws and the Information Technology Act, covering organized crime, forgery, and use of fake documents. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is currently at the Drepung Gomang Monastery in India's Karnataka state, where he is likely to stay for at least 7 weeks. His engagements so far have garnered wide attention by the monks and people alike. In an elaborate ceremony attended by over 10,000 monks on Sunday, the Dalai Lama received a commemorative award made of gold and silver to mark the 51st anniversary of being awarded the degree. Seated on a throne, he was offered a silk scarf, which was followed by the serving of tea, fruit, and ceremonial sweet rice, and the recitation of several holy prayers. The ceremony concluded with the heads of the monasteries leading a procession, escorting the 90-year-old spiritual leader to his private quarters. Earlier on Friday, the Dalai Lama was received with a lot of fervor, a warm welcome on his arrival. Thousands of people holding white scarves, flowers, incense sticks in their hands lined up the roads to welcome him as he was on his way to the monastery. The roads were decorated with flags, welcome signs, spiritual inscriptions. And after reaching there, he was offered a mandala and a prayer was chanted in his honor. Addressing the gathering, he stressed that the people of Tibet have maintained a strong connection to Buddhism despite the difficulties faced by them. He also highlighted that respect for Tibetan Buddhism is growing, not just in China, but also around the world. Referring to prophecies that he will live for over 130 years, he urged everyone to revive the Dharma and benefit the world. His Karnataka visit comes after China's endeavor to pick his successor, Gyatsen Dorbu, the Panchen Lama, the second highest spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhists, appointed by Beijing, sparked a row. We've been telling you about this. In fact, he suggested that Chinese rituals will determine the succession of the Dalai Lama. And this was vociferously countered by the Tibetan parliament in exile. It emphasized that the Panchen Lama neither has religious nor political authority. The Dalai Lama is expected to return to Dharamshala in February next year. The Bermuda Triangle, known as the graveyard of ships, a puzzle of vanished planes, a lot of questions. Now, deep beneath those waters, scientists have found something rather strange. A colossal stone structure, unlike anything else on our planet, and is rewriting the legend, perhaps. Take a look.
Beneath the calm blue waters of the Atlantic, something vast is watching back. Bermuda Triangle has swallowed ships, scrambled compasses, and fueled legends for decades. Now it has delivered something far more unsettling. Deep below the seabed near Bermuda, researchers have detected an enormous stone formation, geometric, layered, and shockingly organized. Using advanced sonar mapping and deep-sea imaging, scientists mapped a structure stretching several kilometers across. It rises from the ocean floor like a buried monument, with straight edges, terraces, and right angles that appear almost engineered. Researchers say they have never documented anything remotely similar on Earth. The findings have been published in Journal of Geophysical Research Letters. The Bermuda Triangle is a region in the North Atlantic Ocean, roughly bounded by Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. The formation lies under thick sediment, suggesting it is very old. Millions of years, possibly more. Its scale dwarfs known underwater ruins, and its symmetry has left geologists divided. What has intensified the mystery is its location, right in the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, a zone already associated with unexplained magnetic disturbances and navigation failures. The structure lies at depths where light never reaches. Robotic subs have only skimmed its edges. What lies inside? Chambers, passages, evidence of a people who vanished without a trace? Or is it a natural wonder, shaped by forces we don't yet understand? Scientists caution against jumping to conclusions. Whatever it is, the find is forcing a rethink. The Bermuda Triangle is no longer just a zone of myths and missing ships. It's now a frontier of deep-sea archaeology and geology. And that giant stone structure, silent in the dark, may hold answers to questions we have barely begun to ask. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Moving on for now, lawmakers in Mexico City came to blows inside the local Congress as a heated debate over the future of a key government transparency watchdog spiraled into major chaos. Opposition legislators accused the ruling party of sidelining oversight and breaking political agreements, raising fresh concern about accountability and the democratic checks there. Take a look. A green ghost from the stars racing towards our planet. It's not a rumor, a real interstellar comet. Glowing brighter every night, scientists are watching because the 3I Atlas is about to make its closest pass yet. Our next story explaining how this is a Christmas gift in a way for astronomers around the world.
Deep in the black, something is moving fast. Interstellar Comet 3I Atlas. A visitor from beyond our solar system is now blazing a green trail across the night sky. New images show it growing brighter, its core swelling, its tail stretching behind like a cosmic ribbon. This is no ordinary comet. It comes from another star system, flung into our neighborhood by some ancient stellar collision. As 3I Atlas nears Earth, sunlight is breaking down its icy surface, releasing cyanogen gas. That's what gives it that eerie green glow. Telescopes across the globe are locked on, tracking every change, every flicker. 3I Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth on 19th of December, passing within about 269 million km. That's far enough to pose no danger, but close enough for astronomers to study it in stunning detail. Scientists are racing to measure its composition, its rotation, its structure, clues to how planets form in alien solar systems. For skywatchers, it's a rare gift. With binoculars or a small telescope, the comet will be visible in the pre-dawn sky, like this Geminid meteor shower which illuminated night skies in southwest China over the weekend. For now, 3I Atlas is a fuzzy green smudge against the stars, a fleeting visitor from the depths of the galaxy. Astronomers say this is an early Christmas gift written in starlight. For science, it is a rare message from another solar system glowing green as it speeds past Earth. The universe has knocked on our door, briefly, brilliantly, and then it will move on.
On this day, December 16, 54 years ago, history was rewritten on the battlefields of the subcontinent, a day when a new nation was born through courage and sacrifice of thousands of soldiers. On December 16, 1971, nearly 93,000 Pakistani soldiers laid down their arms before the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini in Dhaka, bringing a swift end to a 13-day war and giving birth to Bangladesh. The road to that surrender has been paved by months of horror. Millions of refugees poured into India after the Pakistani military unleashed Operation Searchlight, targeting civilians in East Pakistan with unchecked violence. The turning point was on December 3, when Pakistan launched airstrikes on Indian air bases in the western sector. India declared Pakistan's actions an act of war. And then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ordered full-scale military operations on both eastern and western fronts, formally beginning the 1971 Indo-Pak War. Relentless land advances, air dominance, decisive naval blockades choked Pakistan's supply lines and shattered its defenses. Victory came in just 13 days, India marking December 16 as Vijay Divas, honoring the bravery and sacrifice of its soldiers who altered the course of South Asian history. Tributes were paid earlier today at the Amar Jawan Jyoti in New Delhi, and the Indian president inaugurated the Paramveer Dirgah at Rashtrapati Bhavan, while Prime Minister Modi saluted the armed forces, calling the 1971 triumph a moment of enduring national pride. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition. We are taking a short break. Thanks for watching. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that